a pub called Saison nearby where I live, but I never thought that this is a kind of a beer. So after the game, I was like, okay, this is a beer.
It's good. I
tried it.
Wow, so you've been playing since Dragon.
See?
But my best one is Treasure Mountain. It's absolutely great. I really like the
Thank you.
worker placement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Treasure Mountain is actually the game that Daniel kind of broke me in on as far as game design and stuff like that. And we did a lot of the designing and creating of that game when we were first dating.
Oh, wow.
Babe.
Look at that. That's courtship right there. And look, hook, line, and sinker.
Hey, I came up with the name. I'm pretty happy.
You did.
Proud of myself.
When I called it the dwarf game for 8 years. Oh, it's the dwarf game.
It was orcs before dwarves, man.
Oh, it was orcs. No, it was orcs instead of a dragon.
What was it? Oh, yeah. You're right. I'm sorry.
It was.
So start recording?
I already did. It's going. We're like, it's a very good question. This is the show.
It's my favorite game to this day. It's my favorite, ultimate favorite game. I love that game.
It's because you can't lose. Kate, let me tell you, Lucas. No, do not play with Kate.
The last couple times we played that game, I did not win.
It's because we cheated. That's the only way we won. No, we didn't cheat.
I was going to say I don't believe that.
Kate, come on, Greg. Has you ever seen Kate lose in Treasure Mountain?
I haven't had the misfortune.
She is so sweet and nice. Oh, so yeah, Lucas can appreciate. She's psychic. She knows what King's goals you're gonna take. It just takes them the second before you're gonna take them every time. You're just like,
you
what?
have to pay attention to the resources that other people have.
We don't, apparently. Apparently, we don't pay attention.
I haven't tried the extension though.
Oh yeah, the you mean the expansion?
Yeah, I got it, but didn't try it yet.
It's fun.
It's really fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It allows you to kind of tweak the rules or tweak the system a bit. You can break some of the rules, and it's a lot of fun.
The magic.
The magic, yeah, it gives you another gem. I actually maybe that's a game we always play when we got together, right? We've always played Treasure Mountain and Rise of the Gnomes. Since I guess we're going to talk about it, right? It's for Lucas. We're going to, even though you already backed it, Rise of the Gnomes is a great game. Like Don here was a play tester. Everybody here was a play tester and developer for the game.
I just look from some videos. The rules sounds pretty complex and a lot of options. But I guess once you familiarize with it and start playing, it's a bit easier.
I can see that. I mean, just from the perspective here, one of the nice things about it is if you look at really the way the core game plays, it's all breaking down into little sections. And what I like about it is even though there's a lot of things to look at, you're focused on doing one thing at a time. And when you're only focusing on that one small section of game play, there's different phases. It really is pretty simple once you get along with it. I think, Dawn here is probably the newest member I mean, how long did it take you to really get into it, Dawn? Do you remember?
Probably the first game.
Yeah, like turn 3.
There's a lot going on, and kind of like Dan manages the flow of the game. I don't think I've never been in a game where Dan wasn't kind of managing it. So for a while, I wasn't always sure what was going on because he's just so quick. Like, okay, now it's this. These cards go out. This happens. This happens. This happens. But like, you understand what's going on. But like, I'm looking forward to. I'm going to teach it to a couple of friends when I can get them all around the computer at the same time. And I'm looking forward to teaching it once because I get it, but I'm looking forward to kind of having that experience of not having Dan there.
I come out of every box a little clone. Hello. You know what it is? It's because we're playing on Tabletopia, and if you don't push people, oh my God, it's a 5-hour. Like, takes so long unless you push people a little bit. I think sometimes.
Yeah. But no, I mean the mechanics, like the actions you're taking, are super simple. It's the depth of the strategy. It's deciding which action to pick. It's making sure you get in the right order and all of that. Those are the critical things to figure out. But the mechanics themselves and the flow of the game and the steps are super intuitive.
Super simple.
From the first side. So from the first. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, from the first sight, it looks a bit like a Puerto Rico from this.
Oh, weird. Interesting.
Yeah, like you have those cubes that you put. So it's like my first thing was like, yeah, it looks like a bit like Puerto Rico, but I think it's well, the other thing was that it looks a bit like Catan because you have those tiles.
Oh yes, any game with a hex tile is Catan. It's
I know.
It's not like Catan though. You do yeah. What is you get to do those little buildings that look like Catan? I guess right. Looks like Catan. Yeah. I mean, oh, there's Dan. Dan, say hi, everybody. Hey, hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Is he here? He's silenced. Dan was one of the game editors, so we got to see all my bad spelling. It was great.
I did a blind playtest with a group that I was at a friend's house and they hadn't played it, and I was the fifth person, but I didn't want to play it 5 players. I wanted to see them play it, and I was only a crutch for the rule book. Anytime they asked for a rule clarification, I actually looked up in the rule book first, just to make sure that the pieces were there. And we only made one mistake, and even after we finished playing, we lost to the gnomes as a group.
Yay!
And they immediately wanted to play it back because then they understood, okay, here's how the game clicks. I know what I'm going to do this time, or I'm going to try this new way of winning. And that's one of the things I really like about this game is you can sit down with any race, any color, and any long-term bonus card that you get dealt right at the beginning, and have vastly different strategies towards victory from your opponents. And then at the same time, there's that duality of trying to keep the gnomes in check from overrunning the board and keeping them out of your territory while maybe putting some of them in your opponent's territory to slow them down.
But you don't want to wipe them out either.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Really balance.
So it's that crazy living on the razor's edge and making sure. And then of course there's the gnome sympathizer card, which, oh boy.
Yeah, that's a competitive game where they get points if the gnomes are winning at the end, right? It's like the
10-point swing at the end. And
it's like a trader card.
I've only seen it successfully pulled off once, and when it was glorious.
Oh, that's my dream. Can I like to point out that Don had the worst single round in the history of the game? Remember when you were the Giants and you
Oh yeah, Dragon kept burning me down.
the poor Giants. I cry a little bit when I think about that. But it was like your second time playing. I'm like, oh no, Don. It was just like bam, bam, bam. But you never really get eliminated from the game. Like you always just feel
Yeah, it was still super fun trying to come back from that.
You did. Yeah, but you weren't last, did you? I think I might have.
No. I made something of a comeback. I sure didn't win. Trying to make sure of that, but it was fun.
It's like that old RTS mentality. You lose your first base, and you're like, oh, geez, do I just... And that's basically what you did. I remember. I was in that game.
Yeah, do you remember that? Because you took the middle, when there's an element of the game where you take the middle, and it's just like, the biggest mistake players make is taking the middle and not being ready to hold it. Right? Like, Greg, you're the master of the middle. Like, you are the guy that takes the middle the right way. And Gary, too, you did good last game.
The last 3 times I played, I purposefully did not go for the middle. And I wanted to see how long people were going to leave it to the gnomes. And fortunately, both times somebody stepped up. But if I'm going to play competitively or with like 6 players, I'm going for the middle. You better guarantee I'm going for the middle.
But it doesn't guarantee you win.
Oh, I hope I'm New York.
If you're the orcs, yeah, because orcs have the ability to convert gnomes really fast. Well, there's the Highborn, right? One of the races that I made for Greg that is designed to take the middle. But here's the thing: that taking the middle doesn't mean you win the game. There's no guarantee of that at all, which is fantastic.
Well, it's a struggle too, because a lot of the gnome cards, they are focused on that middle space. Middle always takes priority in the line of succession.
So they're just always piling back, and you're
right back to the middle. But I think the reason I chose Orc is because they have the bonus to beer competition too, right?
Yes,
that's why. Because regardless of who's in there, whether it's gnome or enemy alike, you can convert those suckers into your customers, and that's perfect.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I start to think if it was a good idea to join this call because now I'll need to wait for this game for December. I'm getting more hyped.
Oh, it
By
is
the way,
fun.
I mean, you can join one of our live plays on
we
Tabletopia.
have exactly. We sponsor Tabletopia games, so if you would like to play
Yeah, I know, but I don't like really Tabletopia because this is. I like to feel the game, you know. To
Yeah.
in my hand.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. We all love cardboard here.
We love
Exactly.
sitting around the table, smelling Greg.
Actually,
It's great.
As I said, I'm working in IT, so I'm working in the computer, you know, for like 8 hours a day. So after work, I just really want to have something real.
And
Hear
something
that,
not in
yeah.
front of a screen. I hear you.
Oh, yeah. But Tabletopia is a blessing for me for game development. Gary and I played Card Itself Sleep every week for it feels like a year straight because it's a great environment to cheaply make a prototype without spending a dime and just play it multiple times. And if it plays well in Tabletopia, it 100% plays well on a table because Tabletopia is horrible. Like, it's worse, right?
Why don't you give that statement a little background there, Dan? I don't think anyone
But yeah,
knows what
Card
Party
Shop, we
Shop
don't know what
Sleep
Card
is.
Shop Sleep is, so you want to make a little...
Well, it's a game in development. My dream space legacy game, exploration game that I have to trim it down of 200 hours to finish it. I'm trying to trim it down where it's yeah. So Gary and I spent a lot of time just working on the mechanics of it. Hey, there's Jam Scott. Hey Scott, of working on the mechanics. So just so people who care is that I always try to do the engine of the math, right? You talked about the math of the game first. And once you get that math, then you can add all the sprinkles and all the fluff, right? And I think that, Gary, we play tested the hell out of that game. The same missions over and over again.
At least 60 or 80 hours.
Oh, God, yeah. And as a result, the core mechanics are great. And then once you have a core mechanic and engine that works, then you start to build content, story content around it. But that game is far in the future. Oh, look at there's GM Scott, one of the editors as well. What's up, buddy? Say hi.
How you doing, everybody?
Hey, this is Lucas, who's our who is in the UK, but is here to listen to everything we have to say.
How you doing, Lucas?
Hey, hello.
So,
As I said, it's pretty late over here, so probably I won't be here for long, but we'll see.
it's totally fine. No pressure. You're the only person that's here. Who cares? Hey, there we go. So I got a question for GM Scott and Dan too, since I don't know if he has his mic on. What is the worst thing about editing my rule book, other than the spelling errors?
Oh gosh, I'll let Dan go first.
Is he there?
Actually,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
I
you.
can hear you.
Hey, my video's not working. Actually, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, you do a pretty, compared to some of the rulebooks I've edited or helped, that yours have at least a good outline. Like, they follow a good outline, I feel like. So, it's more about the little things, making sure the logic works and everything.
I remember the first
Yeah.
iteration of the Rise of the Gnome rulebook. Once Dan pulled out of his ass that he was going to say, "Oh, let's play competitive and co-op and cutthroat." And he had all these little boxes pasted throughout the rulebook of how to play the different variants for each rule set. I'm like, dude, I can't read it.
It was a monster.
It was a monster. So splitting the rulebook up, huge.
That was a good idea, yeah.
Well, what
I-
about even what was the original theme of this game, dear?
Well, I'll answer the theme question as Scott gives me high praise or very low praise about the rulebook, because I can tell you have something to say. I'm curious.
Yeah, well, I kind of want to echo what was just said in that the rule books, when because I joined the party late, obviously. My first experience with you and your games was with Treasure Mountain just before
Yeah.
it came out. And I was impressed with the game first, because I like my worker placement games, and I
Me
like
too.
the mechanic of bumping. And it just, as I've told you this the other day, it's just such an accessible game that it's practically a gateway game for the people I deal with.
Yeah.
And but there's that depth, right? I mean, there's randomness, but you still, after you play a couple times, you get familiar with what can come. So
Yes.
you're prepared for it. But that rule book, the thing that really sold me on the game itself was your 2-page spread of the setup with the big numbers on what to do, and those were easily found in the text directions. And right there, I was like, okay, I can set this up very quickly and very easily. It's easy to follow. I've seen other games where they have a nice 2-page spread and they have numbers or letters, but then they're just the regular text buried with.
Oh, I hate that. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, you can't find it. So that was the one thing that really drew me to your game in the first place. But then, as I was looking at some of your beautiful graphics throughout, I was like, wait a minute, the picture says this, but the text.
Oh, yeah, I'm guilty.
And I was like, wait, am I reading it wrong? So I went through 3 times. And yeah, again, as mentioned before, there's been so many rule books I've read that are just terrible. Some games that, I mean, they're on my shelf of shame now, but they were on my shelf. And we basically kind of made up our own rules because the rules themselves were terrible. But yours were good, but then there were these little things where it's like, wait a minute, the picture says this, but the...
Because graphics are... I forget to update the graphics to reflect the change. Or, because remember, I wrote 2 rule books at once, right? And that last update that I think you guys went through, I was like, what book now am I in? I just forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have
so
to
when
mix
I
up.
sent that first message to you, and I said, what's right here? And then I said, and I've noticed just a couple of little things. I mean, overall, the rule book was in really good shape, but there were just a couple of things here and there. And I said, can I just send you something? And you said, yeah, sure. And so that was the start of it. And it's just, I'm not a rule book editor. I'm a technical writer. So. I write documentation for a software company, so, what I write usually has to be pretty accurate. I'm not a creative writer by any means, but I'm when things don't match, that's it. Just for some reason I noticed that. And I also have an amazing ability to start reading a rule book and go through it, and I'll remember if I see something like that earlier.
Oh, God.
The next time I pick that rulebook up, I have the ability to flush out previous versions of it. And so when I look at it, it's like I'm looking with fresh eyes. I don't know how I do it, but I can just flush a book.
It's weed. It's weed, isn't it? Come on, it's weed. Just forget.
Yeah, never touched the stuff, but maybe it is.
Or beer.
Go to a couple Pink Floyd concerts.
You certainly got it.
So, yeah, that was the Silver Dome. I don't know if anyone's from my area or has even heard of that, but
I know the Silver Dome. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
been there.
It was a big warehouse that held 80,000 people, all smoking pot at a concert. So you didn't have a choice if you ever went there.
You're in there. Can I just say that I thank you guys for your edit, because I hate writing rule books with a passion. It's like the worst. It's like, now it's the rule book. Oh, but I hate bad rule books. Some games here that, oh my God, the rulebook was so bad, it was crazy. It would drive me crazy.
And there are still games that we can't play because we don't really understand the rulebook.
I should write my own rules.
Make your own rule.
And that was one of
It's
the
always
things.
me who read the rule books and then explain to my wife and other friends.
Yeah, that's right. You're that guy.
Yeah. And I'm the same guy. I'll go through the rule book and everything, and then when everyone comes over, I'll just run through. Start out with, here's your goal, this is what you're trying to do, and then here's how you do it, and then these are the steps. But
and then they'll forget what you tell them. It's like, you didn't say that.
Oh, that's true.
Because I wanted to win.
Kate, my wife has accused me of that a few times. Oh, you never said that.
I've been accused of that more times than I care to admit. It has been...
But Kate should realize I don't care about winning. I just want you to love the game so you play again.
I don't know about that. What about our competition, huh?
Who was ahead in the summer games competition?
You are by too many.
That's because I'm picking games I know you hate. So then you just want to get it over with. Get it over with. Make it quick.
I've taken to starting to tell my friends which games I'm bringing over to their house, so they can have the opportunity to watch the video. Because then they don't
actually
have
watch them.
Yeah.
That's a good move.
But do they actually watch them?
Oh yeah.
Really? Oh God. I never do.
I thought of something we should add to the Rise of the Gnomes rulebook, and I just saw it in the Dragon Brew rulebook.
What?
No gnomes are harmed in the publication of Dragon Ball.
Oh no! I totally forgot. Maybe we say some gnomes were harmed in the creation.
Yes, some gnomes may have been harmed in
I will give Scott credit for one important separate rule book. Scott has his own book, the strategy guide book. Why don't you tell? Because it's something that this is the problem when you play test within the same few groups so many times, we forget the obvious. And you want to just say like the reason the strategy guide exists is because of Scott.
Yeah. So I joined the playtest group with you guys, and as we played, I was given various bits of advice throughout. Right. Well, you don't want to go to the center unless you can hold it. And
yes.
You don't want to kill all the gnomes because then they just get points, and all these little tidbits I was fed as we played. Right. Tribal knowledge.
Yeah.
And when I brought the playtest to my friends, my group of friends that we played, I think I had 5 people, and I didn't pass any of that on. I read the rules right from the book, and I just completely forgot about all the rest of that. And so as we're playing, I said, you know what? I think I'm going to just go try and take the center so that they can see that it's a bad idea. One of the people didn't show up. He said he was going to be late, but sometimes he's not always there, so I figured I would just play. I wasn't going to play originally. I was just going to run them through it. Well, so I said, you know what, I'm going to do all the things that you're not supposed to do so they can see the bad example, right? But I never told them about it. Well, then that one friend did show up, and so I let him take over. And that very next turn, the dragon showed up in the center 3 times in the same turn. And it was fly to the center, walk away, fly to the center, fly away, fly to the center.
Oh, delicious.
3 times. Yeah.
Wow.
Just decimated him. He had no cash. He had no one on the board. He literally said F this and disconnected.
That's a ringing and an endorsement for Treasure Mountain right there. I mean, Rise of the Gnomes right there. Go ahead.
So he came back a little while later and apologized, but we spent the next hour and a half talking about everything that everyone had seen so far and that everyone in general loved it. Just one guy who happened to show up and get the snot knocked out of him.
Yeah.
And just, he was having a bad day at home and all that, so it was just, he's like, I came in here to have fun, not to get destroyed.
Yeah.
So, because of
You learned
that,
the lesson,
Dan and I,
never to show up
Dan
late.
and I, we ended up talking
Yeah.
for a while after, and I explained what happened, and I said, yeah, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have some sort of a strategy guide for new people, right? What are the little quirks and foibles that you need to understand? So, yeah, I think that turned out really well. I read through it the other day, and it looked really good.
I did it in like an hour. I work fast. I knocked it out fast. But Matt, one of our playtesters, Matt, are you there? Ertl, he's muted. I was gonna give Matt some public praise for another important part of the game, the overlay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right? He pushed me on the overlay.
Me.
You're never living that down. We had that conversation back and forth how many times, and finally you decided we're going to put the overlay.
Well, I figured out a cheaper way to do it, to just do it out of cardboard rather than plastic and punch it and lay it on top. And then I realized, oh my god, I had to redesign every board to make them exactly the same, like layout-wise. But brilliant. I'll give you all the credit.
Yeah. When I saw that in the Kickstarter, I was pretty excited.
I know it needs it badly. I mean, when we play Kate at home, we don't use it because we win so much we never take stuff back off the board. It just goes onto the board.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Not when you play with me, bro.
I know.
That's you need all 6 players and everything's coming off.
I'd like to play another 6-player game. So, Lucas, the 6-player expansion. Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
Well, I was just going to say, by the way, we have a few new people joining us, so welcome everyone. Just wanted to say, acknowledge, and thank everybody for coming.
Yeah.
And take a listen here.
So, Lucas, did you get the 6-player expansion, or you just did the base game?
The 6-player expansion, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. So the 6-player expansion, which is another thing that we added as a result of playtesting. I don't know who pushed for the 6-player. It might have been, was it you, Greg, or somebody pushed me? Like, I think it was Greg.
I wanted a 6-player. There was room for it.
Yeah, so a 6-player adds a desert race, and the desert races are fantastic. I think everybody here has played the desert races. So not only is it a 6-player, but you could also play less players and then play a desert race as well. That was an improvement over the last year that I thought was huge, because the desert races are very unusual, because a dragon doesn't go there naturally, but they're also kind of harder to expand, and they don't earn as much gold. They're fun. Does anybody here play a lot of the desert races other than me? I think I played them the most, maybe.
I played a few. So.
I think I did one.
Because those races are so backwards. They were a ton of fun, but they were so different. Like
they're very hard. They're not. Yeah, I don't think it's hard. Well, let's say hard. Yeah, they're not played like the rest of the races. Like the desert Naga have those like obelisks that they use, it's not played like the rest. It's very different. And then there's the thing about the races, I guess, should we say, about the number of races, and we may not unlock all of them, but at a minimum, everything will be available for print and play, and the ability to create your own races. We played through a lot of races here. Does everybody want to say their favorite race over the years?
I haven't played the Highborn yet. I think it's going to be the Highborn.
Yeah. How? I made it for you and you've never played them.
Yeah, man.
Is it the wizards that let me just skip the worker placement cards?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I love
I
that.
was going to say Wizards, too. It was the very first one I ever played.
I like the
Yeah, you unlock the spaces on your player board, and you can basically skip the shared worker placement cards for like the latter half of the game. It's great.
It is really cool. It's great for everybody because then there's more room. They're like, I can get everything for cheap. Thank you, Wizards.
Yeah.
And the teleporting.
Oh, the teleportation. Well,
question for testing: how do you do the balance so the game is balanced well? Because I think it's the hardest to make actually the game with so many races to play with.
I can tell you the secret. It's really it's not as complicated as you think, because once, especially I have my head wrapped on mechanics really well, is that once you build that core engine, then all you look is, I just think of a race as a cheat. You're breaking a rule. All you're doing is doing something slightly different. And then if you just play test enough, like everybody here remembers races had broken stuff, right? And everybody here has contributed updates. You just play them, honestly. Once you get close, you play them.
Well, in your math model. That
it starts with the math, is what I.
Yeah, but not everything can be mathematical. Like the warlocks, Dave's not here, but the warlocks have the ability to immediately do another action you already placed. It's hard to quantify that. Some things are hard to mathematically quantify, and you got to go up the gut. In certain races, to be clear, I don't think the games are every race is 100% balanced, but I think the race is not as important as the decisions you make as a player. Does everybody agree to that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think also like some races play better cooperative versus competitive, so that's nice too because you can play them differently. And I play a lot solo, and I enjoy just trying different races and seeing how they play solo. And some are much harder to play solo than others.
What's your favorite? I like the vampires. You like the centaur? What about vampires? That's Gary's race.
My favorite race is the vampires. So, but it is true. I would say some, and I think we did this. I think with Dragon Brew. I think we're going to do the same thing here. We'll probably make a chart as which seem to be better for novice players, more advanced players, and even different play modes to go in. I think though, not every single, not to break the balance, but every single race can be played in every single mode. But they do tend. Some also seem to do better when you have fewer players. Some are
correct. Yes.
Players. So there's a lot of balance in between, and plus, we want to put into the fact that Dan is making available all the templates and everything else. You can make your own races too.
Yeah.
And even objectives for the game, because the core mechanics is there, and the two things that make everything work. It sounds like it's everything in a package, but the two things that when it comes down to the right bottom point that we had to play test and balance well was getting the GNOME AI right. So it was always something in the background there. And then the second thing was, just the base establishment as from a base level, everything played out well. And even as us as advanced players going in, there are times we're not always going to win.
No.
Gnome AI is that good. That's what made this game possible.
I do think the Gnome AI, I have to admit, is my proudest thing about this game, and the variable card placement. The gnomes. Who here hates the gnomes? I hate the gnomes so much. You raise your hands. You play this, and they're so frustrated. You're like, no, and it's like it almost seems real. And I'd like to say I did it entirely by design. Part of it was by accident. It just worked out. Just certain things, the cascading way they move. It does feel real, right? He feels like a player. It's and everybody hates him. They're like a plague.
He is a threat. I mean, it's funny, and everybody. The first time we introduced the game, we always make this caveat: don't underestimate the gnomes.
Yeah, don't.
And everybody kind of goes off and does their thing, and then by turn two, they're like,
"Oh, wait, we're losing."
And inevitably, it's that, and then you have this quick reaction of, well, we better work together to get them going down. I mean, when we originally playtested, it was just competitive. Cooperative was added later.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this. And then, so it's this constant threat that it's a good push and pull, but you can't underestimate the gnomes, but you can't wipe them out entirely because that also...
Bad.
Snowball.
Nobody likes genocide. You get penalized for removing the gnomes entirely from the board as well.
To clarify, we're not killing gnomes.
No, we're not. These are gnome customers. So it's
wiping out their customers.
It's beericide. Beericide. Let's be clear. Yeah, that's true. We got to be it's anti-violent world. The gnomes. I do love the gnomes. I have to admit. And it's funny that the game, right? And Gary mentioned the game was originally competitive only. But it was so good. The gnomes were so good. We're like, you could play this cooperatively, and it was kind of already done, right? I mean, pretty much, right? I mean, we didn't change much. The difference in the rules between competitive and cooperative is minor. Very, very small. Two things. You don't have secret endgame goals, and when you play cooperative or solo, the gnomes claim action spaces to block you. That's it. Every other rule is exactly the same, which makes it easy to learn.
And I have to say, I am not normally a fan of cooperative games. This one I am.
Yeah, it's hard because in order to win, everybody has to have more points than gnomes. It's not just one person, everybody. And certain players that we all know, we played with them who are competitive players, want to be like, win! And then you're like, wait, we're down here below the gnomes and we're all going to lose, right? It always happens. Always happens, every single time.
Yeah, I like that because you're working with different races and different abilities, so you have to, if someone gets behind, you have to say, how can I use my ability to help that person catch back up? And it's a nice little puzzle.
Then you've got all this going on, and then out of nowhere comes that darn dragon.
Oh, the dragon! We didn't talk about the dragon. Oh, or the time that I lost 5 breweries the last turn of the game. 5 breweries the last turn of the game. Like, the worst streak. But here's the thing, like, I was still in there in points. I mean, to let everybody, people are watching or listening. I mean, the dragon is punishing, but it's not like, it doesn't crush you. Because you you could recover pretty quickly from it. It's just horrible. Right?
And what you can do
the dragon has this kind of push your luck mechanic to the game.
Right.
Yes.
Kind of bank up your gold and bribe him off. Or you can use your gold for something lucrative.
Like buying points?
You're really exposed.
That's exactly what I did. I did the big mistake last turn. I bought 9 points and had no gold. Oh, the dragon's not going to get me. Bam, 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 bam.
So, and the dragon offers a very interesting element too. So it's there's some races that are really good at controlling it, and some people will even just go ahead and there's options and spaces on the board where you can actually control it. There's special ally cards that will allow you to control and manipulate the dragon. So you can also have a very solid strategy of controlling and taking and moving the dragon around.
Oh yeah, Greg. Where's Greg? You bastard. Greg is the dragon. If he collects ally cards to help him move the dragon, heaven help you. You're just save your gold because he's going to be sending that dragon after you every time.
Amen.
What?
Hopefully, no dragon was harmed during that game as well.
I said Mac.
Hey, Mac.
Hey, Mac. I will say this too. The thing about this game, it's not like a cooperative game where it feels like it's just a single player with other players added on.
Yeah.
It is really a cooperative game because you're focusing on your own stuff. Even when it's not your turn, the game, I think, focuses you on doing and thinking ahead and building up your
working together. Like, it takes everybody working together. And remember, the gnomes have 7 levels of difficulty. Like, the highest level of difficulty no one's ever beat the game at.
I don't think. Yeah, no.
I think
it's impossible. I think
it's called impossible because I think it's possible. I think we came 2 points away one time.
Right.
So you can adjust the difficulty. And we when we play tested it, we would play and see, now how high could we have gotten and still won, right? That's how we played to test it. It was really easy.
But the cooperative, I think, is the best way if you're going to introduce it to someone.
Yeah.
Or cooperative. Because they'll get an idea with the turns, you can help them out, they can understand the strategies. And it's, in a way, cooperative is it's a reversal of the role. Whereas in the competitive game, you're working together to kind of help control the gnomes. When you're working cooperatively, you're working together to help extinguish the gnomes or your customers or remove the gnomes.
We're going to reduce their market share.
We're going to reduce their market share. So it's an interesting balance. Again, you're still doing that balance, but the focus is different on the competitive versus cooperative.
It's very different. Hey, since Mac's here before, I know we're gonna lose our token European viewer, Lucas. Hey, Mac, do you want to talk about the art at all? Do you want to say hi? This is Lucas. He's a Polish person living in the UK. Are you a Polish English person? Are you just a Pole who lives in England? I don't know. What's it? What is it? What would you say you are?
I'm 100% Polish.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. I mean, what can I say about the art? I mean, so much of the art was informed by.
I think Mac's muted.
Oh, am I muted?
No, I can hear him.
I can hear him.
I can hear him.
Okay.
Just talk loud.
The art.
Yeah.
So much of the art was informed by.
I can't hear him.
I can't hear him.
Can you turn up a little bit? Talk a little bit louder, Mac. A little bit.
Maybe adjust your volume.
Yeah, let me try to adjust my volume.
Yeah, that's strange because he's no. Or do you guys have him muted? Because I can hear him perfectly.
Yeah, I can hear him
I
too.
can hear him fine too.
How about now, Mac?
Is that any better?
Yeah.
That's better?
No. I think it's not about muting or not muting. It's something else.
Can you exit and enter? How about now, Mac? Here we go. He's gonna come
I
back.
would keep Max volume at 200%, so maybe we just gotta turn them off.
Yeah, I turned him up. I turned him up to maximum. How about now, Mac? Can everybody hear? Talk. Everybody, thumbs up. You can hear him.
Can people hear me? Can people hear me? Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Yes. No.
What the? Oh, it's anti-European. Hold on.
Yeah.
No,
Something.
EU.
Don't worry about me. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, so much of the art was already informed by the work that we had done on Dragon Brew and Oktoberfest previously, and this game, comparatively to the others, didn't have as much art sort of on the granular level of the world, nearly as much comparatively. So it, what I did get of that, I to really accent and bring some more personality to like the judge characters and to the helper characters that you get, things like that. I mean, it's been a lot of fun sort of working in the Brewmancia kind of concept. You know, I don't really know what else
That's
to say.
perfect! Yeah.
We also did it 2.5 years ago, so it's kind of
I know.
So, the distance now, I'm just like, oh my god.
Well, I want to know what your inspiration was for having that staff and the hop.
Oh, the hop staff. The hop staff is
my
great.
Favorite thing, because I have it as my virtual background in Zoom. I'm at work.
Oh, cool. I mean, so the hop staff is, I mean, on again, sort of something that just the hop motif was definitely something that came out of Dragon Brew, and I just tried to sort of put it into anything within the world that made sense. There's a lot of hops hidden in the world of Dragon Brew from the original game, and especially in regards to the gnomes and the kind of the coded. I tried to sort of code in this like ancient world history of gnomes into Dragon Brew, and that kind of just like I mentioned, kind of just kept on like rearing its head into the subsequent games. So the gnome staff definitely that was just like by the time that I got to Treasure Mountain, by the time that I got to Rise of the Gnomes, it honestly seemed just like an obvious choice.
Yeah, I love that gnome staff.
Imagine a little gnome stirring a pot with that giant.
Oh, I know that, and he's so cute. I secretly, here's the dirty secret: I love gnomes. I have a gnome in my fireplace. I love gnomes, but which allows me to abuse them a little bit in the game, right? Does that give me a little bit of gnome abuse?
Yeah,
but I think that's also important to tell everyone too that look, this game, the art, everything else, it's tested. We're pretty.
It's done. The art's 100% done. It's been done for 2.5 years.
Manufacturer has some of the files already. We're just waiting to do the last minute changes in the rule book. So this game is ready to go, unlike some other Kickstarters where you see that they're still developing it, still balancing it, and still doing it.
This game is old. This game is 2007, the original version of this game.
Well, speaking of original version...
Oh, should I share? Okay, so this is a quick story before we lose Lucas. Lucas, this is a history lesson just for you. Are you ready?
Yeah. So before we start,
yeah.
Is it something about the diseases that you have like something in mind about the diseases, and then you change the theme, and the mechanic was almost like the same?
Speaking of diseases.
So let me tell you. So originally, and I will share my screen. I'm gonna share my. I gotta open up Corel first. Hold on, please hold. I'm going to open up the file. Here we go. So originally, I'm going to go live with this. So originally, in 2007, this was a game. Let me know when everybody can see it. This is my old art from a long time ago.
Oh no!
Wow.
So the people don't know that this is actually Dragon Keep. It's the genitals back then. So this was a game where everybody was a sexually transmitted disease fighting over the body of a sailor on shore leave. And you're going to try to make him do disgusting things to help your disease take over the body. It was ridiculous. Like, it was, you know what I mean? And let me introduce you to the cute diseases. And it's thematically funny, but the mechanics didn't match. But, here's Syphilis. He's really cute. Isn't Syphilis really cute? We have, look at gonorrhea, charming. Chlamydia, beautiful. And chancroids, because he's spiky, right? Because he's actually a virus. So, and there's all these cards about you could mutate your STD and use abstinence to prevent spread and cotton condoms and you could have them go to have a Tijuana tea bagger to spread your disease to anywhere in the body and bareback. I mean, it's pretty horrible. Porn theater popcorn again. So that's the mouth and throat, and I mean it's so dumb, right? So nobody's ever. I don't think anybody's ever seen this.
I've never seen this.
We've never played the variation.
Yeah,
You made a wide choice.
Yeah, exactly. But look at it. You could have the different medicine. So the gnomes were the medicine. Like they were different, and the players could manipulate how the gnomes, or in this case, how the antibiotics would react and affect other players. So, yeah, here's the problem with the game. The theme was crazy and fun, but the mechanics were like a little more serious, and it didn't work. It just never. The people who wanted to play this game had poor taste, and then when they sat down with this and go, wait, there's rules we have to follow. You know what I mean? I think you got to know. So that's a dirty secret. So then this game became George King Kingdom, which then became Rise of the Gnomes, like over the years. And it was like, and here's the thing, people here know me, I don't throw anything away. Like this is from 2007. I save everything that I work on. I have series of failed designs, and I never get rid of anything, and this is why. Because you never know. Something could come back, and you could reuse it again. So now that you're thoroughly disgusted with me, I'm sorry you saw that.
I actually remember that you mentioned this somewhere, and I knew about some, but never seen those graphics. So thanks for throwing those.
Yeah, that was Gary. Gary made me to do that.
The other thing about Dan, I will say this: Dan has scary moments. Without getting into too much detail.
Don't tell my wife.
Anytime Dan will give me a call and says, "You're going to think I'm crazy," but next thing you know, he has a new game design, and it's already put up there. It's already set up on Tabletopia,
True.
And he's begging all of us to play test. I have never seen a person. I mean, Mac is like.
Speaking of that, Gary, as his wife, apparently he tells me when I wake up this morning at like 6, he tells me he's been up since 1 a.m. because he dreamed a new game.
I did. It's 25% done already.
I'm like, dude, you've got to sleep, man.
But
Oktoberfest is a prime example. Oktoberfest was a quick card game. Dan did that. He did that in 72 hours.
Yeah, just a day, just a quickie.
Yeah, when I first started, when I was first brought onto the team, and as the illustrator, and I was absolutely convinced that Dan just never slept.
It's true, though.
He doesn't, really. He doesn't.
Oktoberfest sits on my desk, my work desk. I can view it every day. Yeah.
Oh.
I could say I think it's too early to introduce some things, but there is a concept that Dan just came up with.
You can say it. Goblin Rocket Rally. Say it.
Goblin Rocket
That
Rally.
game's solid.
I actually think, August Games is waiting for its breakout game. We were hoping Rise of the Gnomes. I mean, we're gonna fun.
100% we're gonna fun.
But again, we make the games that we want to play. I'm going to be proud just to have it on the sheet, on the shelf.
Yep.
And I think what we're seeing is a lot of people really like some of the games that I like.
Yeah.
I can say we have 3 designs. We're currently working on one. I'll talk about is Goblin Rocket Rally, which I think could be a breakaway legacy game, or not legacy in terms of the game. I think it could be a breakout game for us.
Yeah, I love it.
So I think the design's going to be. The theme is going to be really interesting. We're talking tournament play. We're talking a whole bunch of different elements to the game. It's just going to be a lot of fun. Even so much so, we're having the whole back.
Mac is like me. He became me. He's like, I'm going to do art.
I'm excited by this game. I'm excited by the mechanics. I'm excited by the theme of it. There's a lot about the illustration work that I've done in the past independently that plays into Goblin Rocket Rally as a theme, so that just straight up excites me. I love goblins. I love making them do stupid things, and what else could you want? So
wait, can we say that the gnomes are the people are trying to stop the race, so the gnomes live on.
But and another thing too, I'm going to give kudos to Don. By the way, Don is really important to us too, because he is going to be the first designer that we're publishing this August game.
External Backyard Chickens!
You're going to see another game, a quick card game that is brilliantly fun. So, we're going to start to break out too. So you're going to see a lot of different things from us with a lot of activity.
I only can make four games at a time max. That's my limit. So we gotta go out and send some more people out. Don, do you want to talk about Backyard Chickens, Don? Because here's the thing, I love Backyard Chickens. I gotta love it because we both love chickens because we have chickens. Our chickens are.
I particularly love the artwork for Backyard Chickens.
Oh,
yes,
so great.
I'm not even kidding. I showed them with my mother, and she's a chicken fanatic.
Yes, she is.
She has like 15 chickens. She's like, I want to get some of these printed for my Horsemen's Association ladies and get them framed and things.
Ooh!
Is there new artwork for it?
It's probably artwork you've never seen. Probably it's not on Tabletopia. Yeah.
Oh, the version that I have, you just had some placework artwork in there.
Oh yeah, no. Well, I'll share it. It's fantastic. Super good.
Oh, okay. But I played that. I just wanted to let you know I played that with my parents who've never played a card game like that before, and they both were able to get the hang of it and really enjoyed it. It's a really good kind of game that anyone can play.
That's great. That's so good to hear. So Backyard Chickens is a deck builder, and it's designed to be an accessible deck builder. It's a very light deck builder about raising chickens in your backyard, obviously. So you're going through trying to get food into your hand, so you feed and water your chickens, and if you feed them and make them happy, they produce more eggs, and the eggs are the currency in the game. And so then you use the eggs to buy new cards and make your deck better, and trash cards, and all the basic deck builder things. But
That sounds awesome.
yeah, it's designed to be light and quick and really accessible to people who aren't into all the heavier games that we're all into. And so that's the whole intent. And the amazing thing for it would be it created gamers, or was appealed to people who are not, we'd call them non-gamers in our world. So it's a game that came from me looking out the back window and saying to my son, hey, we should make a game called Backyard Chicken. I'm a title first game designer.
Me too.
Name it and then come up with the game that goes with that title. So it kind of came from that, and we just love deck builders, so we kind of went from there and made this game. And it's been kind of 3 years in the making, and it's gone through some really bad play tests to some major breakthroughs, and then you get to the next breakthrough, and I think it's a pretty solid, efficient game now.
Yeah, your math. Do you remember when I did your math model? Your math was good. Your math was one small thing. It was good. And I was and that impressed me because even though it's a simple game, math can be complicated to get that math right. It was good.
Yeah. And all credit goes to my son. So I consider my son as the lead designer on this game, and I'm the co-designer. And he's the one that came up with all the core mechanics of the game, and he's the one that said, hey, this card should cost 3 and this card should cost 5. And then we took kind of that intuitive design and gave it to Dan, and he built a whole spreadsheet around it and said, you know what, he's right.
It looks good. It was 100% right.
A couple of cards here, and then but we're pretty proud of it.
You introduced it to us to Kubla Khan.
Yes.
And, it was funny because at Kubla Khan, you remember that year? I think everybody was there. We were asked to play test several games.
Oh God!
There was a space game of that.
Oh no! Don't! I'm flashing back.
and then comes Don and his son and introduces us to this little card game. But it was one of those things that all of us, I think Greg, Dan, and myself, we were at breakfast or something one time, and we kept talking about the chicken game.
Yes, we talked about it for a long time. I love chickens. Anything with a chicken in it, I love it.
And that's why we approached Don and said, well, why don't we publish this? So that's kind of how the thing started.
I mean,
that was the funniest playtest because we had. I'm sorry.
A goblin eats chicken.
There is a chicken. There is a chicken in every board game I've ever made. I have a chicken somewhere in the game. Every game I've ever done. I love chickens.
I told Dan that Backyard Chickens had to have a gnome in it.
That's right. Exactly. There is a gnome. The gnome fountain. I love that fountain so much. The artwork, Mac, is so cute. I fell in love with so many parts of that art. The chickens are so good per personality, the different chickens. Yeah. And you have names, right? And we talked about this, Don. You get attached to your chickens. You know what I mean? And and they can run away, which is really sad. And you're like, oh no, don't run away, And hawks come and try to eat them, and horrible things happen. But
I'm gonna have to relearn how to draw them with the next part of the art coming up to finish that game off.
Yes, that's right.
In a couple months.
We're gonna do the event deck. Yes.
The Goblin Racing Rally. It's Rocket Rally is going to be a lot of fun too. But no, those are 2 games. So 2 coming up, and then we have a lot of different.
Balladeer, Kardachev's Leap. I mean, there's all. But
Balladeer's great.
Just to be clear, we're obviously we don't feed ourselves with this game because obviously we're fat, so we actually do eat other means. We eat other ways. We earn our money. This was just all formed by all of us going to Kubla Khan, right? We're like, we should just make games, and we just did it. We don't worry about profit. We just worry about breaking even and making the next game.
I don't think that's exactly how it went down. I remember specifically, very vividly, playing the very early prototype of Dragon Brew.
Yeah.
Loving it. And then he made me play Treasure Mountain. and I was just smitten with Treasure Mountain.
Yeah.
That game is still, to this day, any day of the week, I'll put that game on the table.
Me too.
Expansion is just the cream on top. I love that game. And we decided we have one guiding principle for our...
Oh, that's right.
One principle, and one principle only. We design board games that we want to play.
That's it.
We're not going to play a game that's poorly produced. We're not going to play a game that's not fun to play. We're not going to play a game that conforms to
marketing.
PS marketing mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
We're just going to do games that we want to play. Even if we don't make money, we'll just...
And we don't. Let's be clear. We're not rich. There's no money. We just punt all our money to... We support Mac. He's our, like, starving artist. We just support Mac. That's all we do.
I feel like you have an unsaid rule in your games. You have to have really neat...
I think
that's part of it.
The project you prepared for the Treasure Mountain was really great, and I absolutely love that game, and... I think I was missing some cards, and then you guys acted like super fast and sent those. I think you Daniel sent these cards, missing cards to me, so I really appreciate it. And I'm completely. I know that this game will be successful, and I already really feel the hype for it. So
thank you. Yeah, I mean, we honestly, everybody here loves it. Everybody here, we all have played it. I mean, how many times did we play this? How many years at KubaCon did we play this game? And we laughed so hard. We had so much fun playing all these games. That's the only reason I do it.
We still do a Dragon Brew competition.
Oh, the Dragon Brew World Championship. Gary, you're the reigning champion.
Twice, 2 years in a row.
And then Bobby won. Oh,
Bobby is the Treasure Mountain. Bobby is the Treasure Mountain.
Only because Kate didn't play.
Kate wasn't there, so we'll have to put the challenge there. But no, and we still play all the games.
We still play them. Like, we get together and this is what we play. The same games we make, which is weird, right? But we love them. We just like to play them.
So if you have to go somewhere and you have a room only for the one game, Treasure Mountain or the Rise of the Gnomes.
Oh, you can't. You can't. Depends on, do you want a co-op experience? How many players? I mean... I love both games. I mean, I love Dragon Brew as well. Like there's something about every game, they're like your kids. There's something about every game you love. But I don't know, man. Rise is really fun for me too. I love Rise. It's so different.
If you would put me to that, I actually, and not just because it's on the Kickstarter now, I would have to say Rise of the Gnomes.
Yeah,
exactly.
I have a nostalgic attachment to Treasure Mountain.
I do too. I love that game.
On top of the fact that it's a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
And it's got so many pieces of it that I love, and just having your own little mind and everything. Oh, perfect. But I will say that Rise of Gnomes, I still feel like I haven't mastered that game.
Not even close.
Not even close. So having a fresh experience and keeping things super, super, super fresh, and 30 races and 18 different play modes and so on and so forth, I'll take. If I was on a deserted island somewhere, I would take Rise, because I've never had a game where two games felt the same. You just can't. It can't happen, and there's so much weird stuff, which made it hard to play test, right? Like Dawn's example, right? Dawn's getting eaten was like, wow, that could happen, right? You know what I mean? Or me. But we do, I mean, yeah. And we still can't beat it in the hardest mode, right? But nobody mentions Dragon. I love Dragon Brew as well, because even though I have an attachment to that game as well.
That was going to be my vote.
Really? Yeah, see?
I've got a nostalgic attachment to Dragon Brew. One, it's how I met Dan. He grabbed me in the hallway at a convention to demo the game to me.
I did.
And that changed my life, obviously. But it's such a beautiful game, and it's just, it's that fun crafting your recipe and putting all the pieces together, and it's a game that, my wife enjoyed before the last year turned her into a gamer.
Yeah.
Wow! Isolation, I've turned my wife into a gamer.
Good for you.
But, that's the one where all 5 of us in my family would sit down and play and just love it. And it's such a great game. I love all these games, but Dragon Brew is kind of the special one for me.
You're like me. You love all games. I'm being the worst game reviewer in the world because I love all games, pretty much.
I know one you don't, but
oh no! Don't say bananagrams! Don't say bananagrams! I hate bananagrams!
I delivered about 10 copies of Oktoberfest to different breweries, and I went back to one of those breweries just before the pandemic, so almost a year ago now, and it was one of their most popular games that was on their little shelf of games. It's just, I mean, that's just awesome to me.
Yeah.
People enjoy
My local brewery is opening up this Wednesday.
Ooh! I'll send you a copy.
I think every brewery should have a copy of Oktoberfest. And then everyone should get a nice, good laugh when they see the artwork for Donald Trump.
Oh! His name is Oracle Dump. I think his name is Oracle Dump. Oracle Dump, I think his name. Yeah. He's got like a dead ferret on his head. What is that, Mac? What is that creature he had in his head? Oh, there he is, right there.
I can't remember.
Oh, he's on the fox.
Yeah, there.
A fox.
It's a fox. That's right. Yeah.
He's got a dead fox.
God,
This is the only game I haven't played, except of course Rise of the Gnomes, because it's not released yet. But yeah, I own the Dragon Brew and Treasure Mountain, and it's never actually.
Well, you can add Oktoberfest for not a lot of money. We're going to add as an add-on if you want to add it. We'll make sure we get you. Yeah, just add. It's super cheap.
It kind of takes Dragon Brew and boils it down into a light card game.
Yeah, I just took one part. Yeah, I took one part of Dragon Brew and said, let's pretend we want to drink beer and play this game, because Dragon Brew is hard to play when you're drinking. Like, it's really hard to play.
If you're doing heavy drinking, you're right.
You can't play it. So, what's a game you can play in 5 or 10 minutes around, that's exactly like Dragon Brew, and you screw each other over, and it's really simple and quick, and you get to read off funny beer names.
Yeah. Which is the best part of Dragon Brew.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, it's hard to see, yeah. God, I love those orcs. And it's a saison. See?
Yeah.
I know. It was one of the more obscure beers. It's like a fruity, like high alcohol. It has a high alcohol content beer, which is why I like it. Which is why I love it. You have any other questions? I know you got to go. I just want to since you are a token customer.
Yeah, I'll be like maybe last question if I figure out something, because I have to go. It's like 3 a.m. over here. So
God!
I have to work tomorrow.
Congratulations! You're a pro, man.
Everything. The final question.
You don't have to.
Yeah, no.
Lucas, tell him you need a playmat for Treasure Mountain. Trying to convince him to make a playmat.
Oh.
Yeah, I would love
I've been trying for years, bro.
I'll make it. You just print and play it. Yeah, we can make it.
Yeah.
I want Mac to do the artwork, though.
I know. We get rich. When Oktoberfest just sells out, we'll do it. Yeah, I mean, our goal, I think we'll fund and things will be great, and we'll move on, and there'll be more games in the future. We just had a delay with the pandemic. It kind of screwed our momentum up a lot. It really hurt us, I think.
Because you were ready to go last year, really, weren't you?
2 years ago, we were ready to go, and I got sick, and it just all kinds of problems. I mean, it was like a bad 3 years, right? I mean, it was rough. Yeah, it was crazy. Like, everything just went to... So... But the good news is we made it out, right? And now we'll fund and then we'll work on our next games. And it's all for Lucas, man. We're just going to make them all for you. You tell us what game you want, and we'll just make it. It's a fun challenge for me just to make. Every time I make a game, I think of somebody to make it for. You know what I mean?
So,
don't think he's kidding.
I'm a squash player and also a gamer, so I was thinking like, can I make I was thinking if I can make a game of squash, so it would be like a card game, and that you could play and you can serve, you can do, but I was thinking about some mechanics about it, but then it's just too complex for me, so I dropped that idea.
No, doesn't that here? I'm going to start talking about game design. I'll make it brief because I'll talk for hours about it. I encourage everybody to make a game. I just encourage you, just take very small bites, start simple. It's so fun and rewarding to do. I made so many games that nobody's ever played that I love them all, and games that, Gary knows, I had games that are really old that'll never be published that we played and we love it, and you just make the game for yourself. That's all that matters. And there'll always be a game that's better.
Ground rule, you have to follow something like a baseline that you need to know how to make it. It's like you write a plot. Is you need to probably know something about how to do it rather than just doing it.
But you do know because you play games.
Yeah. That's right. The first rule of game design is play more games.
Which I'm bad at. I'm horrible at playing games.
Yeah.
Rule number 2 is model everything.
Yeah.
It's the math. It's the core thing.
Math
and
helps.
If you want an idea and everything else, it's no different. It's a system. A game is just simply a system. With yes, it's fun. It has mechanics. It has everything else. The engine, everything else. But start off small. But like for your squash, what do? You serve. You hit. You hit back well. You hit back not well.
It could be like a trick-taking game where they hit a ball a certain way, they have to get a counter with a card, and you keep on countering until you can't counter that card, and that person wins. Right? It could be very simple.
Yeah, because it's like a rally. So you have to map the rally to the game. So you have like a rally, follow the rally. You can do many things, and then you stop and you have another rally, something like that.
Yeah, that's right. You just play your hand until like you either run out of cards and you can't counter, and that's it.
And then you go. So you can try something.
I'm ready to make a squash game with you. Let's do it. I've never played squash. I know nothing about squash. Sorry.
I was there with Dan when he made his very first board game.
This is Bloodthirsty Capitalist Backstabbing Hogs?
Exactly. This was Bloodthirsty Capitalist Backstabbing Hogs.
It did.
We were at Humboldt State University. We were in there. And I mean, this game was...
a monster.
Wow. It was a monster. It was like Axis and Allies times 10.
Times 100. It's economics and... Oh my god, it was so complicated. Oh...
And the thing was, it was kind of fun. There were some balancing issues and everything else.
A lot.
That's how it started with Dan, and I can't remember a time when we were not.
I think D&D prior, right? We played a lot of D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, growing up, and I think that's where I think a lot of game designers played D&D because it's that storytelling. You learn that thing. I mean, our game group is 40 years old. Our game group is older than a lot of folks on this call.
Yeah, I'm bringing down the average here.
Because you got that baby beard now. You lost your beard. You look like you're 12.
Lost it in a fight with a razor.
But the design is just that. It's perseverance and not being afraid to fail.
Oh, you're gonna fail. You suck. I've given up on being the best looking and most intelligent guy in the room a long time ago. Don't try.
But as what Dan says, he keeps even if it's a failed design, he keeps it.
Keep everything.
I would know that STD games would become Rise of the Dawn.
I know. Or Roadkill Rally. A bit of Roadkill Rally became this Goblin Rocket Rally game, right? Or the Alien thing I was working on this morning. Like that was a game that didn't work. God, we played Dungeons Zombie Brawl 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, just don't be afraid to fail, I guess. Have fun too. Didn't I always say that? Have fun.
And then when you are stuck, put it aside, put it away.
Yep.
Dan will do that, and then all of a sudden come up with another idea that came with it. I think Kate, she's not here, but Kate and Dan, you had the idea of Treasure Mountain way before.
Very old.
Yeah, she's here. And came in and helped Dan kind of...
Yes.
So,
yeah.
And then the other thing I would do is recommend is talk about it. I can't tell you how many times, look, Dan's the designer here, but he'll call me or he'll call Don. Or he'll
totally.
Call Fred, or he'll call Rob Bobby and Kate, obviously, because probably.
Oh, I can't talk to her anymore about that. No, I can't. That's off limits.
But he'll sit there and talk through it, talk through the idea.
She does anyway.
And talk it through it, and pretty much then it's a motivation to kind of get it going.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to just do it. And learn from the mistakes and see what other people are doing. Try to analyze the game, and soon it'll come.
I'm going to be clear that I love talking game design. Like with Don, we talked about that other game and made Gary and Greg go away because we talked about it for so long. Right? All right. Who haven't I talked about game design? Well, I love it. I just love talking about game design and poking things, and you know what I mean, and I just encourage everybody to do it. It's so fun. It's just a fun thing to do. It's a weird hobby, I guess, to have.
And then when you have something, talk to Dan or myself. We're available at August Games, and that you can ping us. We're on Facebook.
Dude, many times. Oh, unless it's that pirate game we played, that train game we once played. There's a couple games that we had some haunting experiences with prototypes. Yeah. But that's okay. I mean, we played them. We sat through it. We were good. But But that's okay. But that's okay. I mean, it's okay if they're not good. It's totally fine. I made a look at the STD game. That was a shitty game. Look, sorry, a poopy game, I guess. That was not a good game. That game was horrible, right? And I just kept it, just like an old lady keeps those butter containers in the, I just keep everything, and eventually I pull it out, and I'm like, oh, there's something good in here, right? I mean, you always learn something. Ask Kate. Yeah.
I'll have to go now. So thanks, guys.
Thank you
for this, and just last thing. I really like that Treasure Mountain is it's not difficult to understand the rules, but it's difficult to actually think where you would go, which spot you'll take. And I hope that Rise of the Gnome will be something similar. It's not It won't be difficult to understand the rules, but it'll be difficult to think what do you want to do, because we have so many options. So
yes,
Rise of the Gnome will have those thinking options.
You'll have the same problem. You'll be like, oh my god, there's 10 things to do. Which one do I want to do best? Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I will agree with that.
Do I want to pay more for
have a good night, and
thank you for staying until 3 o'clock in the morning for us.
Bye.
Cheers, no worries. Bye.
Thank you. So now we have somebody to come to visit and play games with now. Do we want to? I guess we're going to wrap this up. Anyone want to say anything profound?
I don't know. Are we playing a game after this one?
Oh.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed.
I know.
Yeah, it's past 10 where I am.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go.
I will totally down to play Balladeer, Goblin. I'll play any of those games. I'm totally down. I got up at 1. Yeah. What?
Dan, of all the games you have made or are making, I gotta say Carter Show is the one I'm most looking forward to. Of anything you've.
Yeah.
It's got me hooked. I'm like so excited about that game.
I told you that I did a paring down of the rules where there was too much content. It would take too long, so I broke everything down, and now it's going to take me 3 months to redistribute it, which means the game will get done faster, though. I'm sorry.
I'm worried, though, because I want that game to be a big, juicy steak.
Oh, it's juicy. I mean, you can play, I changed the experience point system. It's plenty juicy. I mean, you could take your time in every sector and play for hours and hours and go every single planet, every little everything if you want. It just needed to be just a little bit smidgy, just a little bit, faster.
I'm excited.
It's what I'll work on after all this passes, or I drop dead. One of the others.
Try to do that once, dude. Don't do it again.
Oh, and Carter Shall Sleep was originally a fantasy game, so there we go. That's a Gary moment. Hey Gary, remember this fantasy game I was working on? It's not fantasy anymore.
I remember when you changed it. I was like, oh, so you turned it into Star Trek.
And exactly. Well, I love Star Trek. It is Star Trek. It's so Star Trek-y. I mean, I don't say phaser.
It's like playing through a whole series.
Yeah.
But it does have a fantasy.
It does. It has the Hereafter, which is a role-playing system I wrote in the 90s, where there's one portion of the game you go into, and this is not a spoiler, maybe it is, you go into a virtual world like a World of Warcraft. Your characters go and quest in the game the whole entire population exists in to complete the quest to unlock somebody in the game who then joins your world. He's playing your world like it's a game, and he becomes like a character that you could use, and it's crazy.
That is a spoiler.
It's not. I mean, it's so obvious when you get to the planet, the whole population's in a game. You're like, oh, okay, I'm going to join this game. I mean, all the 5 people who actually watch this, right, will have spoilers. Anybody else want to say anything else before I go? Kate, thank you for standing by me. Oh, she's gone now. Oh, she's there.
I'm here. I love ya.
Of course you should.
Anyone that can tolerate that for a long time.
I'm pretty good, right? I'm not all about games. I mean, 10% of the time I don't talk about. It's 10% is food and then 90% games.
There you go. Or maybe 30-70.
Wow, that's pretty high praise. Well, I look forward to Backyard Chickens, Don. I'm so excited to get that going.
Same here.
I'm excited. I just heard there's more artwork coming. Now I'm freaking out.
Well, that's the event deck, which I think we need to include in the game. It's so good to have that event deck.
100%. It's got to be in there.
Yeah.
So are
my
there?
deck. I wanted that deck from the get-go. I was like, you got to put like a coyote or a raccoon or something in that deck that messes with my chicken coop.
Well,
'Cause-
yeah. It changes the rule for everybody. Either like it's a positive or negative, right?
Yeah. I like chaos. I'm sorry.
It's not even that chaotic. Sometimes this, eggs are cheaper.
Yeah, these are all good and bad things that happen. We had some serious take-back cards in the earliest design of the game, and they just did not play well. People just wouldn't buy them.
Yeah.
I get
The
that.
fact that it affects everybody, it's like, oh, now there's a drought. All our water cards in storage go back to our discard pile. Yikes, right? Or it rains. Or all of our cards get to go back in storage. Or like chickens eat anything they want. Or, you know what I mean? It's just, and then you can time your turn based on that event, right? Where chickens are cheaper, more expensive. I do love that. And let me just say, Kate can attest, I don't think I lost a game of that. I played a lot of games of that.
All right,
You're really hard to beat in that game for sure.
I won my first play of it against you, Dan.
I know you did. I remember that. I would like to say I played easy on you, but I wasn't. I think you just snuck up on me. I play harder than my wife. I can't say why, but it was no. We played that game a lot. It was I love that game. I have a good time. I tried different strategies. They all work, but I think a lean deck helps at the end. Anybody else want to say anything special? Thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, it's almost like we're getting together. Hey, we should make a commitment. KublaCon 2022. I want to see GM Scott there. Dan, you come out. I will get you a hotel room, guys. You guys come, man. Right? I think Mac came one year. That was fun, right? KublaCon?
We gotta get back again, man.
We gotta take care of places.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
We'll buy you a hotel room with all of our massive profits.
Massive, huge profits. We'll just buy you a beer.
Rocket Rally, we'll just have to pay for it.
Oh,
There you go.
yeah. I'm telling you, KublaCon is a lot of fun, and it's San Francisco, and it's like
I was just
Yeah.
Googling it to find out where it is.
it's at the Hyatt, and it's actually 2 hotels now. I've been going there for 18 years. I mean, it's my favorite con. It's better than Gen Con, better than a lot of cons. I just love it because it's very game focused.
Yeah, I used to go to.
When
Gen
is it,
Con.
Dan?
It's the Labor Day weekend.
Memorial
It's Memorial, the one in May.
Yeah, Labor Day is Pacificon.
Yes, Pacificon, which I want to go to. Yeah, it's
we're
the
DunderCon. We're going to DunderCon too. I got.
yeah. We're already booked for DunderCon 2022. Oh. Yeah, KublaCon, I'm telling you, Scott, it's so fun. I mean, that's when we met Greg, right? We were playing, what game were we playing? That Lewis and Clark.
Lewis and Clark.
And we drank, I'm surprised I didn't get in trouble, because we were drinking some very large beers. And we were singing From the Land of High Blue Water, whatever, that Molson song, the Molson Golden song.
It was when Tombo was born that
Yeah,
day.
that's Tom right there.
We need to get Tom back on one of these calls one day, man.
I will, I'll get him on. He's not very...
He's back our damn game. Him and listener Vance.
He's not very technical anymore. He's like retired, so he just looks at the fish. But yeah, that's where we met you, Greg, right? I met Dawn at a convention, met Bobby at that convention, GM Scott online. Dan is like, this is why I love gaming, right? Matt, right? Through Dave, right? I mean, it's a small world. It's great. Love it. And you guys are all better than average people.
And for Mac, who would know that a goblin that started this?
That's right.
Would turn around and have another.
It was a deviant art image of that goblin. That and the robotic gnome were the two things I was like, oh, this guy's awesome.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, and I think it's fantastic that it's the goblin on a rocket has now come full circle, because it was the second goblin on a rocket that I did as a redrawing just for myself, to see what new elements I could bring to it conceptually, that Dan saw it and kind of went, oh, I could do this.
I'm going to make a game about that image because I loved it so much. Because the goblin seems so out of control. I love that, like, woohoo! Like, he's going to die, right? But he doesn't, it isn't, you know what I mean?
He doesn't care.
That's exactly how that game feels, dude. I'm just going to go until I blow.
That's right. You're just, I'm going to shoot stuff. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do everything I can. Yeah. It was. I do get inspired by things, right, all the time. artwork, right, and etc., or just old designs. Plus, I need to sometimes get a distraction from Kickstarter. Kickstarter's hard, right? So I just get distracted and do stuff, right? Because a lot of waiting with Kickstarter. You're like, waiting. What's going to happen?
Let's see where we are. Let's see.
We're probably 80% funded, probably, maybe?
Well, 24,680, so we're over 80% funded. We're at 24,680, which is what percent funded?
84, I think.
84%.
Nice. We will fund.
We're at 31,000 Canadian.
Oh! Canadian, we already funded in Canada. Announce it.
So we're going to get close. We're definitely going to fund.
I'm excited, man. Thank you guys for this. Was super, super fun, man. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, it's just fun seeing your games get going and your games get up there and playing on the show.
It's even fun seeing Bobby and his evil yellow playing pieces. Don is a fellow lover of yellow as well.
Absolutely.
That's color.
I usually don't care what color I play.
Yeah.
And so I always let everyone else choose first.
So you're yellow?
And so I end up with yellow almost every time. So
That's what I said. It's the dad color.
That's what the dad color.
Like everybody else in the family picks, and it's like, Dad, you get yellow.
You get
Well,
yellow.
that's kind of how it
Eventually, you embrace it.
Like,
Yeah.
you want it to be consistently the same thing, and yellow is never picked, so you can consistently get yellow, and it also stands out the most. Like,
Yes.
it's the highest contrast of all the other colors, so I can look at the board and immediately know who I am.
Yeah. There's
And then when
one.
somebody else plays yellow, it's horrible.
Yeah, no, I'm always looking at their pieces.
Well, I just so you know, there's a BGG Discord channel, and there's the "What player are you?" and it goes across all the colors, and the most popular is green.
Really?
228 votes.
How about purple?
Wrong, but, you know.
Purple's at 142. It's tied with, almost tied with yellow, 180.
You have to understand though that purple has to exist in the game for people
Yeah.
to choose it. And
That's
it's not
true.
common. It's becoming more common because of the colorblind issues. But in fact, I just opened a game the other day that the colors in the game were the weirdest colors. There were like browns and purples and off like dark greens, like brownish greens, and like olive drab type of thing.
Oh, weird.
It was the strangest mix of colors, but I'm like, this has got to be for colorblind people, because otherwise, why would you pick these horrible colors?
Or they hate color.
Yeah,
They hate color. Right? Yeah, it's the green and the blue, right? That's the one that's hard, right?
It's when I'm playing in a dark environment, like at a pub. The green and the blues blend too well for me, because I'm 51, so.
Nah, you're not a day over 50. I mean, come on, 51.
Yeah, sure.
That's come on. It's true. Ask Kate. I do like it dark until I play a game, and I want every light possible on that table. Kate gets a tan for all the lights I turn on to play a game.
I always
I'm the same way.
make everyone at the bar mad when I turn on my flashlight to see which piece is mine.
I actually have a magnifying glass and a flashlight for playing games when it's dark, and look at the cards. I'm like the old man. I'm like the old guy.
Lamp to Kubla Khan.
I do. In fact, yeah, I bring my own lamps until we plug them in. We have some better light. Come on. It does work though, doesn't it?
I could.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it.
Need a Treasure Mountain themed headlamp.
Oh
yeah.
Mac is a pretty good sculptor. I've seen your
Thinking.
his Warhammer 40K bits. Just make it big.
And that actually could be part of your strategy. You could blind your opponent every once in a while.
Oh,
Switch pieces on the board really quick. while
have
those
like
spots.
have a chaos light. Chaos. Oh, I like that. Oh, guys, this was awesome. I guess I should stop recording. Even I don't want it to end. Now I'm heartsick for Kubla Khan now, because that's really fantastic. I'm telling you, I expect Scott and Dan. You guys got to come. Matt, screw what's got. Come to California, Matt. Come on.
That would be fun. I would love that.
It's-
I'm gonna take off, but
Yes.
I'll leave you.
We're all-
I'll leave you with my favorite edit that I had to do in your rules.
Uh-oh.
My favorite edit was when all of the desert tiles were named dessert tiles.
Oh no! Oh, don't tell my mother. Oh no! Oh,
That made it to the Kickstarter. It's canon now.
it is. It's on the Kickstarter page. I know, because I don't think I'm a bad speller. I just don't even think about it. I can't see it. I spelled film PHILM one time. Like, I just didn't even see it. I'm like, what? Didn't even see it. How did I not see that? Like, I'm not dumb. Maybe I am dumb, but I just can't see it. I'm unable to see it.
What really made it bad is you didn't misspell the word. You just used the wrong word.
That's right. That's right.
So no red squiggly lines, no nothing.
He was thinking ice cream.
Oh God, I need that. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording, guys. Thank you so much. Super good. See you guys.
Bye, y'all.
Peace
Bye,
out.
everyone.